token coming out. Their ICO starts in February called Medicalchain. It's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It uses blockchain to maintain a single user's medical experiences over the blockchain. So when you go to Doctor A or dentist B or whoever, all this information is hosted on the blockchain so that you don't have to worry about going to a new physician and moving your records over. Um, they claim to be a platform for others to build applications on top of. I don't think they're to that point yet, and I don't really see how that's going to be done. But nonetheless, that was in their abstract, so that's a large claim of theirs. The team project, or the team and project, the team is all based out of Europe. They have a lot of experience. There's several doctors in there, so they have the medical experience. There's a lot of MBAs from some decent European schools, including Oxford. And then general IT, they had a pretty good, well-rounded experience on that. A lot of senior developers and project leads. But on the blockchain side, which is the case with a lot of these ICOs, talent's pretty scarce right now, and they didn't have a lot of blockchain talent. The actual status of the project is right here. We're in the January phase. So they're saying they're going to release their mobile application. I scoured the web for it and I didn't see anything. So I'm guessing they're either releasing it soon or they're behind on their timeline. And then their next few steps are a discharge summary and then doctor to patient communication platform, which brings me to the actual token use. So I guess you can go back here. They're having the permission part. So all the data is hosted on this instance of Hyperledger. So you can give permission for people to access your information and charge them that way. And then how you're charging that and keeping track of value is through this ERC20 token on the Ethereum blockchain. So with that being said, the token kind of interoperates with the Hyperledger blockchain. So telemedicine was their first big use case. If you have all your medical records immutably stored on the blockchain, you can use their platform, which they're saying is releasing on March 2018, to have a doctor's appointment without being there. You just say, hey, you put out a bid or some sort of sale to the physician, and they take a look at your information and your symptoms at that point in time, and they might be able to write you a prescription or something like that. So I thought that was a pretty valid use case. Save doctors a lot of times with appointments, save a lot of offices, a lot of like middle office paperwork type deal. The second token use was research. So let's say a university wants to study a group of people with a certain medical condition. They could pay in this token to extract certain parts of these patients' records, including, like, let's say they thought there's a correlation between how often you visited the dentist and if you have cardiac arrest or something like that. They could pull that information and run their analysis without ever de-anonymizing this information, so that you keep the patient safe, but they still get paid out. And then you have enough information to validate your claims if you're a research institute. The next one is information hosting. So for patients to have this kind of ease of access and to use this platform, they have to pay to have their information hosted, which I saw as a potential bottleneck because, I mean, just about any source we're used to using in terms of data hosting, we typically don't have to pay for, especially if we're the ones paying for the service anyways, like a doctor office. And then information reading, they said there might be potential for insurance integration. I'd love to hear Dan and Ian's input on this, because what they plan on doing is you might get an insurance discount if you provide additional health information, if you're looking for like life insurance or medical insurance or something like that, so that the insurer can more accurately predict what conditions you have. Like I mentioned earlier, token sales starts the 1st, and that's about it. I would like to see what other, because this is definitely not a novel idea. This has been tossed around by a lot of groups. I didn't think their team was, or their business partners were of high enough par to really make this the de facto standard. So I don't know if it's a buy for me. But with that being said, I really haven't looked into similar projects to see how far along they are. So with that being said, oh, and we have 3 people. That being said, do you have any questions?
think that's a really cool idea. I'd be really interested to see what other, like you said, what else is out there, because this is definitely, I feel like this is definitely a good use case.
Yeah, absolutely.
For blockchain technology, and definitely a big area that can move forward in. So I'd be really interested to see what else is out there.
Yeah, and another potential bottleneck I saw is this integration between Hyperledger and Ethereum, because they're drastically different blockchains. And what you typically shoot for if you're interacting two blockchains together is atomicity, which means if I have a transaction on the Hyperledger blockchain, like let's say I'm paying a doctor for a service. Well, he'll see my information on the Hyperledger blockchain. We want to make sure that service either happens or it doesn't happen and follows up with the payment of the token. So we don't have one happen and the other not happen. And that integration, making these two blockchains work together, is going to be extremely difficult in my opinion. Anything else?
I agree. I mean, I think the fact that you're pulling in all of those variables from individuals that are using those services from an insurance standpoint, I mean, that would be pretty useful. So.
Yeah, definitely. You could more accurately predict that way. That's for sure.
You know, no one's lying about their past medical history.
Exactly. You have to have a doctor sign off on everything.
No, there's definitely, I think there's definitely potential here.
Me too.
Cool.